Hi everyone, I'm JD from Willow Journals. Welcome back to my channel. I'm a journaler, a journal maker, teacher of journaling courses, and I'm also a writer and artist. And in this video, I'm going to continue this little series sharing my journey studying art therapy, more of a podcast style of series. And in this video, I'll be sharing about what is art therapy. So if you haven't seen the previous video in this series about what is therapy, I definitely recommend you watch that one first, because some of those ideas will be talked about in this video as well, especially hold in your mind the idea of therapy is the organization of the mind. Okay, so let's talk about art therapy and what it is. Again, this isn't the be all and end all of art therapy. It's just some interesting points that I picked up that really struck a nerve with me, or struck a chord with me, that I got out of the orientation week for this course. So art therapy is essentially like using art for healing, and put in this other terminology, it's using art to organize the mind. So I love that idea. Art therapy is using art to organize the mind. And again, I've talked about this in that previous video. When I journal, when I draw, it's taking this jumble of thoughts and feelings and putting it expressed on the page, so that now my mind feels so much more organized, and I can know what I'm thinking, I can know what I'm feeling, and I feel much more organized. And so a difference between, art and talk therapy. Art therapy is embodied. You're giving body to and shape to your experience, and it's projected. So the inner experience is projected outwards as an image in space. And I love this particular definition of art making and art therapy. It's giving formless inner experience an external form. Yes, I love that so much. And not only this, but so giving a formless inner experience an external form creates distance, so that we can gain objective and reflective space to look at this projected expression. So when you're cluttered with thoughts and your mind is everywhere and your feelings are all over the place, and you're trying to look at it, and someone's like, so how do you feel? You're like, I don't know. You're trying to look inside, you're like, I don't know, it's just a mess in there. But if you can write it down or draw it or put it into some physical form out there, now you can look at it and you can go, so that's how I'm feeling. Oh, that's what I'm thinking. And you can look at this external form. And hang on, I wrote it down. When you get your raw experience and put it into some sort of image, you can then explore the image to seek meaning from it and gain insight and understanding. But we need that image in space to be able to do that projected image, because sometimes some people, me included, you just got this jumble inside of you. You're like, I don't know what I'm feeling, I don't know what's in there. But as soon as you can project that out into space, you can now look at it and go, that's what that is, and that's how I think, and that's how I feel. So it just completely makes sense, and this is putting terminology and words to it, so we can articulate what is going on here. And then once you can explore it, what that does is changes the quality of the original experience, i.e., it reorganizes your mind, so that you now think differently about that experience. You now have words to describe what you're going through, or you now have understanding about it. You have now a new perspective. You can see it differently. And then from that, now you can act differently. You can do something. You can act. And it's like, wow, what a great way of describing art therapy or art making, giving formless inner experience an external form, or going from raw experience to image making, so that then you've got this distance, so you can reflect and find meaning from what you have created. And that's just amazing. And that whole process reorganizes your mind. It gives you a new perspective, so you've got clarity. And wow, again, that's what happens for me when I draw a picture or when I write. I can now see how I think and feel, and it changes my inner experience. It changes how I feel and how I'm living now. wow, like, if that's like speaking to anyone else, but to me, that's just like the best thing I've ever heard right now. And I will actually demonstrate that with an exercise that I'll run you through over on my Patreon. And I'm going to reserve that for patrons just because I want to give my personal example from that, and it's a bit more of a vulnerable, personal, exposing story. So if you want to hear that exercise and do it and learn about mine, the link to my Patreon is down below. But yeah, I'll talk more about that a bit later. Let me go on to some other things that I learned that really stuck out to me. So yeah, going into arts therapy, I thought that they would teach us like all of these different modalities. So modalities being different ways of doing art, I guess. So drawing is one modality, sculpture is another modality, dance is one modality, music, sand play, drama, they're all different modalities. And I thought, oh, okay, they're going to throw all these different modalities at us so that we can then choose which one we want to work on or something. But no, what they were saying is, it's more what I'm gathering at this stage, what my understanding of it at this stage is, could be wrong, but is that they're going to teach us all the different modalities so that we can then flow easily between them, and that it's more like a more improvised and natural flow between them. So that because people were asking, well, how do you know which one to do, dance or drama, with a client? And they're just like, it'll just be like an intuitive, natural thing when you're with them, that springs out of, just being there with them. So they gave the example of like, you might move from a sculpture that then you want to draw it, the client wants to draw it, and then all of a sudden they have some music that goes with the drawing, and then they want to do a dance to the music, and then also suddenly they've got lyrics, and then they turn that into a poem, and then the poem turns into being able to storytell it. And I love that storytelling is one of the modalities. I'm like, yes, perfect, storytelling. Journaling is one of the modalities. And loving that idea that it just connects like that. It's just a natural, easy flow. It's not something forced where you're like, okay, there's a structure. We do this, and then we do this, and then we do this. It's like, no, you follow sort of the natural form it takes. And I think it's like client-led. I'm not sure. Maybe it's a dance between the two or something, but it will just naturally flow from one form or modality into another, into another, into another, as the mind keeps getting more and more organized, I guess. I don't know if that's how it looks, but I love the idea that, they're going to teach us all these different modalities so that we're going to feel so comfortable with them that we can just flow easily and move back and forth between them and from one to the other. Like, how wonderful is that? And I've seen that again in my own life. I can give an example. I maybe have written a journal entry. Oh, let's go back. I've drawn a picture because I didn't know how I thought I felt, so I drew a picture, and then that gave me words. So I drew a journal entry about, oh, this picture means this, this, and this, and then all of a sudden I now have a poem. I want to take my journal entry and turn that into a poem, and then now I see that as a song. Let's put music to that, and now let's communicate that in the form of storytelling. So it's like a natural just process. It's not forced at all with a structure or anything. It's just, it naturally went from this to this to this to this as it changed shape. And then all the while it's getting more clarity as I keep working on it and changing forms and shapes and modalities. Like, it's getting clearer in my head, clearer and clearer and clearer, if that makes sense. Anyway, how amazing is that? And I'm going to again show like an example of that over on my Patreon. And then something else that they were just talking about, and I guess this goes back to just what is therapy in general as well, but we stand at this uncertain edge between order and chaos. So what the therapist is trying to do is create this safe space for the client to dip into the chaos, because that's where, at that boundary, that's where change happens. So to allow them to dip into that chaos, the unknown, the uncertain of what is there, what are you really thinking, what are you really feeling, why are you actually stressed, what's going on there, so that then they can do something about it, and get that more clarity, that organization of mind, so then you can do something about it. But you've got to go there, therapy, you've got to go to that possibly like painful place. You've got to revisit some things. You've got to go to some emotions. You've got to let some emotions out. And maybe a person hasn't never gone to that place of anger, so for them it's a really scary, uncertain place, and we're there to help them meet that place in a safe way. Does that make sense? In a safe space, so that they can go into that disorganized, chaotic place of, well, what does anger look like, you know? Yeah, really, really cool. And then this idea of play. So in one of our classes, they were saying that we're going to do a lot of play, because play is essentially that boundary where order meets chaos. Because all play, we're not certain what's coming out. We don't know what's going to come out. You know, when we're creating something and we're playing, we don't know what's going to come out on the page. We don't know what drawing's going to come out. It's just play, right? So we kind of want to replicate that, I guess, in the therapeutic setting and help clients play. I don't know, I'm just pulling things out here, what I'm gathering here, but it could be wrong, and I'm excited to learn what it actually is. But yeah, so we're going to do that ourselves. We're going to do a lot of play in our own creative process, I guess, and journaling. So they want us to keep a journal for all of our subjects, a reflective journal, and they also, for their art particular subjects, want us to keep an art journal, which is great. They said get some pastels, get some watercolors. I'm like, yes, this is so up my alley. So yeah, that is kind of all I want to share about the main things that I got from art therapy in that orientation session. And I mean, if that's what I already got from orientation week, imagine what it's going to be like with the first classes. Like, wow. This is just like a little taster, I guess, and I can't wait to hear more about, you know, what is therapy and what is art therapy, and yeah, working in my journal and art making ourselves, which I love. One of my subjects that I'm doing is like actual art making, so it's going to be heavily based on us creating art and stuff, which I'm very excited about that. They said to get an A3 sized visual journal or visual diary. And I'm really, really loving that practical component that, yeah, it's not all just theory, but we actually get to do this stuff too and have that lived experience and make the art ourselves, and yeah, really, really explore our own lived experience. So yeah, that is art therapy. And here's, yeah, if you're watching the video, you can see a little preview of the next video that I want to talk about, or podcast, and I'm going to talk about study skills and well-being and some other exercises. So yes, stay tuned for that video. That will be on my channel, and I hope you're enjoying both series, both the ones on my channel and both the ones on my Patreon, if you are over on my Patreon. So if you want to hear more about this art therapy and what it is, and an exercise that I'll run you through over there, I'll run it through with you and also share what happened for me when I did this exercise. So if you want to check that out, go head on over to my Patreon, and you get a whole bunch of extras, other videos, crafty videos, journaling videos, behind the scenes looks and updates. But yeah, this is where I'm going to share more vulnerably about my art therapy journey as well, and maybe do some more of these types of exercises. But I will have an exercise, exercises on my channel as well. For example, yeah, like I was saying before, the next video I'll do about study skills and well-being, I will run through one of the exercises with you there. So very excited about that. And yeah, thank you, just big thank you to my beautiful patrons for supporting me. You're helping me to study art therapy. So thank you for being part of that journey. I hope you get a thrill out of that. And if you would like to be one of them, then I would be so, so appreciative. And I hope you get a lot out of this series, whether on my channel or over on Patreon. Thank you so much for watching and for being here, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys! A big special thank you to my beautiful patrons who supported me in January. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. I can't do this without you, so thank you so much. If you would like to become a patron in February, the link will be below in the description box to my Patreon, and that's where you get access to extra videos and behind the scenes looks, personal updates, printables. The Ruby tier and higher, you get every single digital kit from my Etsy as well. And may you all journal your lives, because your story matters.